So here's a question for you. Where does our potential for real, genuine change actually come from? Is wisdom something we have to go out and find? Or is it something that's already deep inside us, just, waiting to be uncovered? Well, it turns out ancient Buddhist philosophers from a school called Yogacara were absolutely obsessed with this exact question. And believe it or not, this one simple question is at the heart of a massive philosophical debate. The answer has these huge implications for how we see human nature itself, and really whether personal transformation is even possible in a way that isn't just random chance.
All right, so to really get into this, we first need to wrap our heads around a key concept in Buddhist psychology. It's this idea of a deep level of our consciousness that is quietly shaping our entire experience of reality pretty much all the time.
It's called the Alaya Vijnana, which literally translates to the storehouse consciousness, and that's a perfect name for it. Just imagine this vast subconscious vault. Every single thing you do, think, or experience plants a tiny little seed in this storehouse. And these seeds, they're not just sitting there like old memories. Nope, they are active potentials, just waiting to ripen in the future, shaping your habits, your perceptions, and the very world you think you see.
Okay, but here's where it all gets really tricky. This is the paradox. If this deep storehouse is holding all the seeds of our confusion, our suffering, and our baggage, how on earth could it also be the source of our enlightenment?
I mean, think about it. On one side, you have the Alaya consciousness, which is seen as a tainted or defiled source, because it's where all our karmic junk lives. And on the other side, you've got enlightenment, nirvana, which is a state of total, complete purity. So the question is, how can a perfectly pure result possibly grow from an impure source? It doesn't add up. It's like trying to grow a perfect, pristine flower from contaminated soil.
And this wasn't just some abstract puzzle for these thinkers. Philosophers like Mu Zongsan pointed out the very real stakes here. If our potential for wisdom isn't already part of our own mental system, then getting enlightened depends on some random outside factor, like luckily bumping into the right teacher or hearing the right words. And that would make the whole path to liberation seem totally accidental and unreliable, a conclusion that, frankly, nobody was happy with.
So this problem, as you can imagine, sparked a major philosophical showdown. Two main schools of thought popped up, each trying to solve this puzzle of where the good seeds of wisdom actually come from.
So the question, boiled right down to its essence, was this. Where do these untainted seeds, the seeds of wisdom, really originate? Do we make them for our own efforts, or are they just something we discover that was there all along?
Okay, so the first theory on the table was called newly perfumed. The idea was that we create these pure seeds by hearing pure teachings. But see the problem here? If your mind is already considered tainted, anything new it creates is also going to be tainted. You can't get a pure result from an impure cause. So that led to the second theory, innate. This one argued that the untainted seeds have always been there from the very beginning. This solves the origin problem, right? But it created a new one. If the potential is already there, well, why do we need spiritual practice at all? But then, a really elegant solution emerged from a lineage of thinkers, including Dharmapala and Xuanzang. And what they did was pretty brilliant. They didn't just pick a side, they wove both theories together into a much more sophisticated and powerful model. And here is the absolute core of their idea, so get this. Spiritual practice isn't about creating the potential for wisdom from scratch. It's about nurturing and awakening a potential that is already an intrinsic part of who we are.
So here's how it works, step by step. First, you start by recognizing that this innate potential, these untainted seeds, they're already there. Then, step 2, this is where the external teachings and practices come in. They act like water and sunlight for a seed. They don't create the seed, they just provide the perfect conditions for it to grow. And finally, as these innate seeds get nurtured, they mature, they get stronger, and eventually, they awaken as true wisdom.
And here is the real aha moment that makes it all click. The Alaya consciousness isn't actually the most fundamental layer of our mind. It's just the name we give to a deeper eighth fundamental consciousness when it's operating in its confused state. This fundamental consciousness itself, it's actually neutral ground. It's the soil that holds both the tainted seeds of suffering and the pure, untainted, innate seeds of enlightenment. It holds both. So why does any of this ancient philosophy still matter today? Well, because it offers this incredibly powerful and optimistic way of understanding our own personal growth and transformation. So let's just boil this all down. What's the big takeaway for you? First off, your potential for wisdom and goodness is already inside you. It is not something you lack.
Second, this means practice isn't about desperately trying to create something new, but about confidently nurturing what's already there. Third, it means the foundation of your mind isn't inherently flawed or broken. It's a neutral ground for both suffering and liberation. And finally, the upshot of all this is that transformation is no longer some happy accident. It becomes the natural result of nurturing your own innate potential.
At the end of the day, this whole ancient solution is really an invitation. It tells us that the seed for enlightenment is already there, inside us, and the responsibility for making it grow is in our hands. So the question isn't whether you have the seed of wisdom, the real question is, what are you going to do to help it grow?